It's the latest Adams administration shakeup. NYC Deputy Mayor Phil Banks resigns. It's Tuesday, October 8th, and this is your New York Daily News. Tuesday's forecast calls for mostly sunny skies in New York City with a high near 71 and a low near 54. Before today's top story, the Department of Investigation is probing a controversial contract that Mayor Adams' administration entered into to provide migrants with prepaid debit cards to help them buy food and basic supplies, the Daily News has learned. It's unclear exactly what DOI investigators are looking into as it relates to the no-bid $53 million contract which was awarded by Adams' administration in early 2024 to McAfee, a New Jersey financial tech firm. It's also unclear whether any other law enforcement agencies are participating in the probe. The existence of the investigation was confirmed this week by the DOI in response to a Freedom of Information Law request from the News seeking records the agency has obtained related to the McAfee contract. The request is denied on the ground that the records you requested are exempt from disclosure under FOIL because they were compiled for law enforcement purposes and disclosure would interfere with law enforcement investigations, DOI wrote in response. A DOI spokeswoman declined to comment Monday. Adams' office didn't return a request for comment. McAfee hasn't been accused of any wrongdoing. Find the latest on this story and more right now at nydailynews.com. Phil Banks, Mayor Adams' top public safety deputy and longtime friend, resigned over the weekend, the latest senior City Hall official to step down after becoming embroiled in federal corruption investigations that are rocking the administration. Banks, the deputy mayor for public safety, submitted a resignation letter to the mayor Sunday night, sources familiar with the matter told the Daily News. It was not clear Monday morning if the resignation was effective immediately. In a string of TV appearances Monday morning, Adams confirmed Banks had submitted his resignation. He said Banks' exit is at least in part related to his entanglement in the cloud of corruption investigations hanging over the mayor and his administration. He stated he wants to transition to other things with his life, and he doesn't want this to be a constant burden on the work that we're doing in the city, and I accepted his resignation, Adams said on NY1. I wish my good friend well. Adams, who's fighting federal criminal charges alleging he solicited bribes from Turkish government operatives in exchange for political favors, also said Banks initially told him he wanted to resign 6 months ago, but that he had convinced him to stay on to work on some initiatives that needed to be completed. The mayor did not identify those initiatives. Banks, who served with Adams in the NYPD and has been a key political confidant to him for decades, did not immediately return a request for comment. But Benjamin Brafman, Banks' attorney, said in a statement that federal prosecutors have told him that his client was not a target of their investigation, and nothing about his resignation changes that fact. A spokesman for the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office, which is leading most of the investigations into Adams' administration, did not immediately return a request for comment. In 2014, Banks abruptly resigned as the NYPD's chief of department after becoming ensnared in a federal corruption probe that he was ultimately never criminally charged in. The deputy mayor's departure comes after he and 4 other top Adams advisors had their homes raided and electronics seized on September 4th as part of multiple federal corruption investigations scrutinizing whether city officials were engaged in schemes involving influence peddling, kickbacks on city contracts, and NYPD nightlife enforcement misuse, among other matters. Prior to Monday, 3 of those officials, Schools Chancellor David Banks, Senior Adams advisor Tim Pearson, and NYPD Commissioner Edward Caban, had already announced their resignations. Now that Phil Banks, the chancellor's younger brother, is also headed for the door, only one other top administration official who was hit by the Fed September 4th remains part of the Adams administration, Sheena Wright, the first deputy mayor. Sources have said, though, that Wright, Chancellor Banks' wife, is also about to resign. She was initially expected to do so this past Friday. On Pix 11 Monday morning, Adams didn't deny Wright is about to leave the administration as well. When it's time for her to transition, we're going to make a formal announcement, he said. The continued exodus of top officials from Adams' administration comes after Governor Kathy Hochul, who has the power to remove the mayor from office, demanded he push out advisors wrapped up in corruption probes. After Pearson announced his resignation last week, Hochul called it a good first step. In his TV appearances Monday morning, the mayor declined to divulge if there are any other advisors the governor has pressed him to push out. He vowed to rapidly fill the positions that are now being vacated. "We have a list of people from my transition team that are ready to come in to every position," he said. The mayor, who has rejected demands from some local elected officials that he resign, is the only administration official who has, to date, been publicly accused of wrongdoing by the feds. He has pleaded not guilty to bribery, fraud, conspiracy, and soliciting illegal foreign donation charges. As part of the probe that prompted the raid of Phil Banks' home, the feds are looking at whether his younger brother, government relations consultant Terrence Banks, used his familial connections in city government to secure business for private clients. Terrence Banks' home was also searched by the feds September 4th. Adams' decision to elevate Banks to the powerful deputy mayor position in early 2022 at a $252,000 salary drew controversy due to Banks' history of attracting attention from federal law enforcement. For more on this story and for the latest in New York City politics, visit nydailynews.com and follow us on social media at nydailynews. Thanks for listening. My name is Imran Sheikh.
Spoken Layer.